How am I supposed to get home from here? How am I supposed to get home from here? That was the question that I was asking myself. You see, I was 16 years old, freshly licensed driver, and I had driven to Raleigh, North Carolina. It was about an hour north of where I lived, where I grew up. And I'd gone there for a school event during the summer. And it went great. I had a great time, and everything was going really well until the event was over. And it came time for me to go home. And I realized Raleigh has a lot of one-way roads. Raleigh has a lot of one-way streets. And not only that, but there was some sort of parade or other event that meant that half the streets were blocked. So I found myself making laps as I would turn one way, and find that street that looked so familiar once again. And so, at this point in time, for the young people in the room, I didn't have a GPS. Smartphones didn't exist quite yet, or at the very least, I was not privileged to have one. I had a flip phone. What I did have was printed directions from MapQuest. And here's the thing. I had printed directions from MapQuest, but those directions were only to get me there. And the problem with those one-way streets and those blocked-off roads, the directions that got me there wouldn't get me home. The directions that got me there, the way that got me there, couldn't get me home. So I made 2 or 3 more laps around my circuit until finally I pulled into a parking lot to strategize. And I made a very difficult decision. A very difficult decision. I called my sister. I called my sister for help. As it so happened, she was passing by a public library. She parked, went inside, got on one of the computers, looked up the directions from where I was, and lo and behold, she got me back on the path home. I was able to get home because she showed me a new way. A new road that I hadn't seen was there, and she got me to it, and that's how I got home. In the Christmas story that we're so familiar with, there are folks, so many folks, who are far from home. So many folks who are far from home. Just think about Mary and Joseph. They are far from home. They're in Bethlehem. That's not their home. And yet that's where they are. But also the wise men, the Magi. They are far from home. These are Persian astrologers. These are folks who are from modern day Iran, and they have found themselves in Judea. They're looking for Jesus. They are looking for Jesus. But what is it that takes them home? It's a dream. A dream is what takes them all home. For Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus, Joseph has a dream that warns him he needs to take his new family and go to Egypt because Herod is going to try and kill him. And then after they've been there for some time, he has another dream that tells him he can return home to Galilee. And the wise men, The Magi, after they present their gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to this baby Jesus, they too have a dream. They have a dream warning about Herod. So they go home by a different road. They go home a different way. In both of these stories, it is a dream that leads them home. But notice, it's not the way they got there. The dream takes them home by a different road. Today, this day, we begin a new journey together. We begin a new journey today, and God only knows where this journey is going to take us. But we do know, I know, that we are going together, we're going to learn, we're going to grow, and we're going to pray, and we're going to serve, and we're going to forgive. And in all of that, we're going to be transformed. We're going to be transformed more and more and more to look like Jesus. I know that. And so I have to ask, what are your dreams? What are your dreams? What is the dream that God has put into your heart? What is the road that Christ is calling you to walk down? To put it another way, what is your purpose in this life? What is Christ calling for us to dream together? What is the dream that God has for us in this place, in this time? We're going to have to spend some time working out exactly what Jesus' desire for us is, and then we get to work. Then we get to work. Doing the work that you have already been doing. Doing the work of loving and sharing God's love with the world, with everyone, until the world is changed. Until the world is changed from what it is now to what God hopes and dreams for it to be. Until we too are transformed by that love. So let's dream. Let's be bold. Let's dream big. Let's not settle for less. Let's dare. Let's dare to take Jesus at his word. That he will always be with us. And that the work he began in his life, he's given to us to continue. Let's dream. And that dream, Christ, who knows where Christ is going to take us? Christ might take us down a road we didn't expect. But I know this. If we follow the dream that Christ has placed into our heart, he will always lead us home.